Hey guys, Ezra here again with another update video. Right now my Civic Type R is sitting at about 10,000 miles and I have a few things that have happened since then. I did go to the dealer and I did get my oil change. At the same time I had them take a look at my driver's seat for the lower seat cushion adjustment issue, and they ordered a part the very next day, or they ordered the part, came in 2 days later on a Thursday, and I brought it in for them to fix. Took them the whole day, went back and picked it up after work. There was a small problem with the seat when they reassembled it. Basically, they had to order a new frame. That frame requires you to transfer all the material, the cushioning, the bolsters, the fabric from the old frame to the new frame and to reinstall it into the car. They didn't put the foam on properly on my driver's side bolster, so it was actually pushing my side in, and I immediately noticed it was a lot tighter. At first I thought it was like, okay, maybe the frame is redesigned, they tightened it, but as I continued driving it bothered me more and more, and I set up an appointment for the following Tuesday because the particular dealer I go to, they only have the shop foreman work on it apparently, and when you have one person working on it, it's a good and a bad thing, right? You know who's working on it. At the same time though, if there's a lot of people bringing Type Rs in, he might not have openings available like a normal car would. So brought it in on Tuesday, they fixed it within the same morning. I didn't really have to wait around much actually, so that was nice at least. And that's kind of what's been happening with my Civic Type R. Past this truck who's going way too slow. That's basically what's been happening with my Civic Type R. Now the other part of this video is to talk about my previous video of... Now the other point of this video is to kind of go over some of the feedback I received from my other video, which was the 4 things I find annoying about this car. Now I got a lot of flack for some of the things I brought up, which is fine. I mean, different things bother people differently, but in my opinion, I'm entitled to find something or flaws in a car that I own personally. Some people may disagree with it and my things that I find annoying, but to each their own, right? But today we're going to be talking about things I do like about the car, and I don't really have a list for it, but I'll give you some of the reasons why I chose the Civic Type R and how it's turned out daily driving it for now 10,000 miles. The very first thing is that the cargo space, obviously. I have a 64-pound dog that I carry around sometimes to and from my home or to my work. As you can see, I have a big crate back here. It's an extra large crate that folds, and I put him in there and it fits fine in the crate, and the crate fits fine in my hatch. The seat's folded down. It's a really large, it's an extra large crate, I believe, and fits. Another thing is, not only do we have a lot of luggage room, but we also have a lot of storage. So the center console right next to me has a very deep well, I guess, if you want to call it that, and it can fit my 32-ounce Hydro Flask, which is about this big, can fit all the way down there and not obstruct my shifting at all. And it's securely there. There's actually a cup holder inside, deep down here, that will hold my thermal container or Hydro Flask perfectly fine. There's very few cars on the market, I would say, that have like a really good mix of practicality, fun to drive, and cost actually. Even though this car is mid-30s, I mean, for what you get, I would say it's pretty good. It is the best hot hatches on the market right now. It's fun to drive, and not many cars can claim to be as practical. The other thing I do like about the car is the different drive modes. Now I drive mostly in comfort mode. Comfort mode is the most pliant ride, the lightest steering, and least responsive throttle. Now if you shift it to sport mode, the mode that they want you to drive in, because it defaults to sport mode every time you turn it on. It feels like a different car, which is kind of cool, because it's like on the weekdays I want to just be in a nice cushier ride. When I come back from work, I don't want to be beat up, so I just switch into comfort mode. But then on the weekends, I turn it to sport mode. It's almost like a different car in a sense where it's definitely noticeably more responsive in terms of throttle. And it's kind of addicting, and it's kind of cool where you can kind of get the two different feels, two different kind of cars in one. 3 if you count R mode, but I've honestly rarely ever driven in R mode. I just don't see a reason to beat myself up on these terrible SoCal roads. The other thing I like about this car is its visibility. It's actually pretty easy to see around you. I do have a small blind spot right here where I have had people hide behind the B-pillar, but it's not a big deal if you adjust your mirrors properly. There just have been a few times where I did not see a car behind my B-pillar because it's kind of big. Another thing I like about the car is the looks. It looks to me like a stealth bomber, the Nighthawk. I personally like the looks. Another thing I do like about this car is the Android Auto. Now, in the previous video, I did complain about the responsiveness of the screen, which is still, it's still an issue, but I use Android Auto almost exclusively, so I don't see really the red or the theme that they have going on here. I see mainly Android, and it's great because I can control my Spotify, my Pandora, or my Pocket Casts. I can listen to basically anything using Android Play that I listen to on my phone anyway. And it even does voice recognition, so if I just say like, okay Google, it generally does pick up my voice if I yell loud enough. It generally does pick up my voice pretty well, and I can command it to play a certain artist, music, a podcast. Basically, it's all functionality of Android Auto, which is great because it expands the base functionality of your head unit or your infotainment system to like limitless. I mean, it's whatever your phone can do, your Android Auto would be able to do. 7,000 miles later from my very first update video is that I haven't really had any hard grinds at all with the car. It is a little notchy when it's cold and can be crunchy if you shift a little too fast when it's cold. But once you warm it up, just like anything with a car, it becomes smoother and generally trouble-free. So, yep, 10,000 miles later, no transmission grinds to complain about. The car is very easy to drive as well. The clutch is not very heavy at all. The throttle isn't jumpy or super sensitive. The clutch is very easy to feel where the friction point is. It's very easy to control. It's not sudden. The friction point is easy to find. And that's really all you need to know when you're learning how to drive stick or getting used to the car. It's where the friction point is how the throttle responds to input. And combine that with your left foot, you have a pretty easy driving car in the Civic Type R, that ride. Basically, I bought the car because of the blend of versatility, practicality, like the fun to drive factor. Like very few cars, again, can claim that it is the most practical car in its segment, and yet it is also the best car in the segment, and rivaled maybe by the Focus RS in terms of performance. It's more or less neck to neck on that. Golf R is nowhere near the same amount of storage capacity and is not as fun to drive as either the Civic Type R or the Ford Focus. So Civic Type R, in my opinion, is the best all-around fun to drive car, and the one you can daily drive the most and get the most use out of. I carried a freaking mountain bike back there for my e-bike project, which I'll make a video of later, but not many cars or even sports sedans can claim that they can do that, right? So very, very awesome how practical this car is. But yeah, I built an e-bike to put less miles on this car. I'm accumulating miles on this car fairly fast with the amount of driving I do. So during the week, I only live 10 miles away from work. I built an e-bike to ride that more day to day. That's pretty much it, guys. This is my update video at 10,000 miles. My dealer experience was not perfect, but also nothing to complain about. I also checked my dash cam video. The guy didn't drive it very hard at all for a test drive. So first dealer experience is tentatively fairly good, and I am hoping to develop that relationship even further by taking my car for oil changes in the future. If you like what you see, go ahead and subscribe for more updates on what it's like to daily drive the Civic Type R. All right, have a good one, guys. Thanks.